everyone. Welcome back to the Be More podcast, where we inspire you to be more of every role within the Salesforce ecosystem and beyond. For today's episode, we are exploring what it takes to be more senior project manager. And I'm joined today by Nicole. So can you kick us off by introducing yourself to our audience, please?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Tom, so much for having me. My name is Nicole Pomponio. I am a senior project manager currently at SaltClick, and I actually am, I hate to say it, many years old. So I've been in the ecosystem for probably about 14 years now. Started as a solo accidental admin, creating reports, and just it grew from there. So I started then working on special projects at the company I was in and really deepened my love for Salesforce. And a couple years ago decided to take the leap into Salesforce consulting. So here I am, full-time senior project manager.
Awesome. Well, that sounds great. And it's great that you had roots as an admin, because I'm sure that's kind of helped you as a project manager relate to some of those challenges that an admin has, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think the technical background and the fact that I was hands-on keyboard and have experience on the platform really helps me understand the perspective of the teams that I'm working with.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so break it down for us then. Senior project manager, that sounds nice. What does that actually entail in reality? What types of responsibilities are we talking about in that type of role?
Yeah, I love that you asked that question because I think there's a lot of misconception around sometimes what project managers do, right? We come up a lot against people that think project managers schedule meetings and they take notes, and that's the extent, right?
Yeah.
While I wish it were that easy sometimes, it's definitely not. So that's a part of it, right? A big part of what we do is manage relationships. And we think maybe sometimes it's just a customer relationship. It's really not. It's for the teams that we're working with. You might call them delivery teams or project teams, but we're making sure that everyone is feeling supported, right? So we're understanding, of course, for the project's budget, timeline, and scope, what we're doing, how we're doing it, how long it's going to take us, how many hours. But we're also wanting to make sure that it's successful. So much more than notes and scheduling meetings, but really making sure we're getting things done when we say we're going to get them done, and watching out for, I like to call them the grenades throughout the project. So what's going to come up and maybe make us miss a deadline or like explode within the project that we have to scramble.
I love kind of imagining the team in action to resolve some of those challenges as well. So talking about the team, how does your role interact with other roles? Like what type of other roles do you work with on a traditional project, if there is such a thing?
I tend to work with almost every role. So I was thinking about this a lot. So of course we're working with the immediate team members, consultants, developers, solution architects, leads. We're also working internally with leadership teams. Maybe we're asking for more resources, right? And we're resourcing across different projects potentially, depending on the size of your organization. And then we're also interacting with maybe the same on the customer side, maybe just stakeholders or point of contacts on the customer side. So I really feel like we're talking to and involved with almost every role in some capacity, right? It could be day-to-day activities. You have your daily stand-up where you're checking to see what's getting done. It could be monthly steering committee meetings where we're making sure that the platform is being built to the customer's requests. But it just tends to be many different people every day. And that's definitely one of the things I love about it.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's why the relationship side of things, as you mentioned, is quite important, right?
It's huge. I think that the relationship tends to be everything. It's first and foremost for me. And a lot of times going into my first meeting with customers, I really talk about how I really shoot for open, honest communication, because I think that's the foundation of it. And I want us to trust each other. So working together, building the relationship, we build the trust. That way, when one of those grenades does come up, it's not as difficult to pivot because they know we're really doing what we want, to make sure that that project is successful, right? So we want to make sure that everything is in line with their original goals, and we're not steering them down a bad path. But yeah, relationship and communication is definitely huge for me.
Okay, awesome. Well, I 100% agree with that as well, because it does certainly help when you have any challenge during a project, it will soften the blow because ultimately the client's already on side, they already trust you. And I think that that's really important to ensure what you kind of describe as like mutual success. If it's successful for you, it's successful for them. And likewise, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. My success, my happiness is really dependent on my customers' happiness and then my team's happiness. That's always for me, like my two customers, right? So my internal and my external, but absolutely, like I want their project to be successful. And sometimes that changes throughout that project, right? We can do something, we can't do something, we have to do it a different way. But as long as we both trust each other and we know we're doing it, for what's best for them, I think that's where we end up having some of the best successes.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And thinking about this now, and this might be more applicable to perhaps a smaller consultancy, but do you typically play the role of project manager full time, or are you sometimes consultant, sometimes admin, sometimes senior project manager? Like, how does that work from your experience?
It's such a great question. And with most answers for anything I'm asked about for project management, I just always say asterisk symbol, it depends.
Yeah.
So I think it can really just range, right? So if you're in a smaller consultancy, I would definitely expect to be wearing multiple hats. I think that's just the nature of the beast with that one. So you could be doing a little bit of consulting work. You could definitely be, if you have the skill set, right, doing a little bit of solutioning. I know I still enjoy getting hands-on, so there might be times where you have an opportunity to do something and keep your skill set fresh. I think there's power in that. And then I think when you start to move into those larger consulting groups, you have very large engagements, right? Enterprise level, you want a dedicated, specific project manager. I wouldn't want, on some of my larger programs to also be doing anything else because the main focus at that point, we definitely want to be project management. But I think it can really vary. Like you could be doing requirements gathering, you could be doing some of, the back end work for sure.
Okay. Awesome. And thinking about this now, if there's somebody that's listening and perhaps they're feeling a little bit inspired and they want to work up to a senior project manager role themselves, what tips, advice would you give to that person?
I hope they are very excited and vibed up from our conversation. Ultimate goal, I hope to grow some project managers out there in the universe. But I think just stay curious, ask questions. I think just from talking to quite a few project managers, they feel like they oftentimes have to know everything or understand all of the technical conversations that are happening. And that is never going to happen. I have let go of that a long time ago, and I think it's made me much happier. I don't understand what's being said all the time, and I'll happily say that out loud, but that's not my job, if you will. I want to make sure that we're all successful. So if everyone is supported and they know what's going on, that's awesome. But stay curious, ask questions, because when you start to learn a little bit more about things, you feel much more comfortable, right? And again, don't expect to be the expert. It takes a lot of time to learn. There's so many features and functions. I know we know with Salesforce, right? And it changes every 3 to 6 months. So just stay curious, stay involved, ask questions. And I think the other big thing for me is really feel comfortable leaning on your team, right? Nothing that I do is in a silo. Nothing that I do is independent. One of the big tasks that we have is creating project plans. I would never presume to do that alone. I want a lot of what's happening to be very collaborative. We're all making decisions together. So feel really comfortable not doing things alone, right? Like lean on your team. They're going to lean on you. I think that's when the magic happens, to be honest with you.
Yeah, totally. And that's definitely one of those tasks that AI hasn't replaced just yet, has it?
Not yet. We're not out of the mix yet, guys.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm curious now because I know you dabble in a little bit of Slack related things as well. And does that transfer into your working life as well, or is that just via the community?
It's a little bit of both. SaltClick is very kind to me. So I have a lot of opportunity to grow in that space. So I have a couple customers that also love to Slack and they love to build on the platform. So I have the opportunity to talk to them about that, help them learn. One of my biggest joys in life is teaching other people how to do things and not do the work, right? Like get them excited to do the work. So that is a really, really big opportunity for them and me right now. And then the other part of it is very fun, right? Like organizing monthly sessions, learning more on the platform, just getting involved to help build up that community too. So I would say thankfully I get to do a little bit of both at work and at home.
Okay, awesome. Well, I always had a soft spot for Slack, so I love that, and hopefully anybody viewing on the video can see my plushies in the background, pride and center. So thinking about this now and reflecting on your own experience a little bit as a senior project manager, if you were to start out again, is there anything you would change or do differently? What do you think?
Such a great question. Kind of a believer in the universe takes you where it wants you to go. So if I had to think back, I don't know that I would change things, because the way that I learn a lot of times is through experience as well as kind of like in parallel training. So I've done that with this role. And kind of grew into it. So I love the way that it happened. Of course, hindsight, it would have been nice to know certain things up front, but I don't know what I would change, right? Like being able to get dropped into projects that are going well and not going well, that's a huge learning opportunity. And that taught me a lot. The mistakes, I think we all say that, right? And then getting to take certain online training or training courses has helped, but I like the way that it played out so far.
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, that's a really nice answer. And I think I would reflect on that as well, like in terms of if I hadn't made those mistakes, if I hadn't learned those lessons, then I wouldn't be the person I am today. So I can relate to kind of not really wanting to mix things up. And, the challenges at the time don't feel great, do they? But,
a little painful in the moment.
Yeah, they happen, and then hopefully don't happen again, So, touch wood.
Not on everything around me.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a great kind of life experience, life lesson, really, because that can apply to other things in life too. Yeah. So bringing it back now to senior project manager, if you were to kind of call out key skills or attributes it took to be senior project manager, what kind of personalities or traits do you think are important? And we've touched on a couple already. Curiosity is there, kind of ask questions. Relationship management is kind of there as well.
Yeah.
Any more that you would kind of throw into the mix?
Such great questions you have. Yeah, I know we hit on the key ones. I think too, the ability to, I don't know the right way to say this, but kind of detach from the emotional aspect. And that can be hard sometimes for people. I am emotionally invested in the people that I work with and the projects that we work on. But I do know that, everything ends, right? So we're going to take the journey together, and we're going to have ups and downs, and then we're going to move on from that thing that we're doing. So I think it can be hard sometimes when things start to not go well, or, something maybe gets pointed at you. This is where your team relationships become really important to lean on and learn from. I think that's a big one, not taking things personally and be able to really grow from those. So having that, emotional intelligence to be able to move on from those things, I think is really important. The consulting world, I think in general, is really hard. It's stressful. So another part of that too would just be understanding how you release your stress, right? So understanding what works for you, right? And I think that goes along with the emotional intelligence, but do you need to go run? Do you go eat some chocolate cake? Like I did both of those things yesterday, and it was amazing for my mental health. But I think that's another big piece of it, just understanding yourself, and that, this stuff is hard, but it's not your fault, right? It's part of the journey.
Yeah, I think that's solid advice. I'm somebody kind of on my own journey with that, with like emotional resilience is kind of how I would define it. But there is a skill of, I think naturally, well, at least I am emotionally invested in everything I do, I kind of pour my heart and soul into it. And if you build a system and the client doesn't use it, there's only so much you can do. You can't make them use a system. Right. So I think that's part of it as well, kind of being able to almost step back from the emotional side of it. Do you think that's important?
I think so. I don't remember where I heard it, but there was kind of something that helped me shift my perspective, right? So when we're working on something, we're basically standing right in front of this door, right? Like my perspective is the door. And I can't see past that. I can't see through it. I can't see around it. But if I take a step or two back, then I get to see the full picture again, right? So think it's really, again, important to have that team aspect, or even just that time for self-reflection, right? Like throw 30 minutes on the calendar and force yourself to step back. Like, what else is going on in the world,
Yeah.
or with this thing that I'm working on, so that I'm not just so focused on like what the end game is for that thing, right? But taking a step back and seeing it from a different perspective, I think is really valuable.
Yeah, definitely, because that can make the world of a difference. Just kind of putting something on pause and coming back to it the following day after going for a run or going to the gym or whatever works for you,
Mm-hmm.
can just really help you reset. And again, this isn't really a Salesforce specific thing anymore, is it? It's a general how to, I guess, deal with adult life. I don't know how else to put it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's kind of just how to live your life without taking everything, to your core in that way, right? So it's
Mm,
just kind of how to navigate the world with emotional intelligence. And I think, something as simple as, if you're upset, don't send the email. If you're upset,
mm,
don't send the text message, right? Like, step away
yeah.
from it, come back, because you're going to feel different tomorrow, and then you're going to have a regret. So if you want to write it out, type it out, that's fine, just to get the thoughts out.
Yeah.
But, I think doesn't really matter what your job is, right? Having that level of understanding of yourself and your emotions is going to help you in whatever role you end up taking on, right? Because you're going to build up that resilience, you're going to build up your confidence, you're going
Hmm.
to know yourself. And it is a really tough journey. Like, it's been, I think, years in the making for me. I used to teach to some of my support folks Emotional Intelligence 2.0. Super great book. I didn't write it, but I forget the gentleman's name. But that was really good self reflection and just going through those exercises. And then, at home, I have a special needs son, and learning about his emotions and everything that he's going through has really helped me understand mine and how to react, with and to
Mm,
people. So that has been really invaluable. That's been very humbling, if I'm being honest. But that self reflection, I think, has helped me just be even better at what I'm doing. So all
yeah.
that stuff combines to make you the person you are, which is why I would never change it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So now I'm going to give you an opportunity to debunk or demyth something.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already touched a little bit on project managers. Yeah, those are the ones that just send the emails and book the
Mm-hmm.
meetings,
Mm-hmm.
right? But is there anything else that comes to mind that you would like to clarify for our audience so people think, senior project manager, okay, it must mean you are this. Is there anything like that kind of comes to mind?
The things that I've heard that come to mind are, unfortunately for myself, true. So,
Okay.
being very detail oriented, or like OCD about planning things out. But I would say, maybe if I'm thinking about that, not so much in every facet of my life, right? So I'm very
Mm,
detail oriented and planner by nature for work, but potentially at home, if I were to pan the camera, maybe my office would be a hot mess express. Or if we were to look at my kitchen, right? Like, not so much. Or, I might be able to remind you the thing that you need to do 2 minutes and 30 days from now. But, someone at home might have to remind me what I should have done 5 days ago that I forgot to do. So I think
yeah.
maybe the perception that you're like that in every facet of your life would be the thing that comes to mind, because
Mm.
I'm very much human. I've heard before that, oh, you just, it seems so perfect, the way that you're working. I'm like, it's not.
Well, it
Definitely.
is within this frame.
Yes. If we're
Yeah.
looking at just this, sure, I will take
Yeah.
that. If we're looking outside of that, the scope of my entire life, definitely not.
Okay. Great. Well, I think that's really great, and I'm sure quite a few people listening to this are going to be inspired and able to relate to that themselves as well.
Mhm.
So, thinking about this now as an opportunity to kind of bring things to a close, but before we do go, right, are there any particular resources or tools that have helped you on your journey to senior project manager with or without kind of Salesforce
Mhm.
relations? And what's a way for people to connect with you? And do you have any content or resources yourself that you'd kind of like to shout out or share with our audience?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the things outside of just real life experience that helped, I took slash am still taking the Google project management course
Okay.
through Coursera. That has been very, very good. And that's kind of the standard, like, best practices, how you should run a project. I do think,
Mhm.
asterisk symbol, it depends, right? For every
Yeah.
project, what you want to pick and choose. That's been very good. And then I just tend to be an avid reader. So I will
Right.
read pretty nerdy books, like not fiction, although huge Harry Potter fan over here. Like anything on like Lean Six Sigma, anything on habits and tasks, all of those kind of books, even if you just want to listen to them while you're doing something else, I think are really powerful. Or finding a podcast. I found really great podcasts, Coaching for Leaders, and there's a PMO podcast as well.
Oh, nice.
That I would recommend. So anything that really kind of fits your preferred
medium,
yes.
Yeah.
I would go for that. I personally am not like a huge creating of resources, but I do a lot of posting on LinkedIn. If anyone wants to connect, you can definitely find me there. And then I just started, I don't know where I'm going to take this, but I just started a YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's mainly for the sessions that I host for Slack. I'll record them and then I'll throw them on the YouTube channel. So you can definitely check out some of the content that I have on there. And that is Salesforce Slacker on YouTube.
Okay. Nice. Well, that's great. And as somebody who started a YouTube channel as well and then kind of thought, actually, what have I just done? I could certainly relate to that. And hopefully over the next few weeks, I'll give that channel a little bit more attention. I think it's just one of those things. I don't know if you find it the same, right? But you're kind of like, oh, this is a really good idea. Like, I should share this with the whole world. And then you get like a spur of videos that you record. And then you kind of run out of ideas, and then you have the same like a month later or something. I don't know. How do you find like generating ideas and things for that, for any original videos that you might do outside of the Slack chapter that you help run?
I need to brainstorm my content. So for what I'm doing on LinkedIn, I'll kind of think about what's a hot topic right now. Let me map that out over the next couple weeks. That I find pretty easy, but the YouTube content, I'm just thinking, okay, what's like something quick that I can show people how to do? I'm wanting to make sure it drives value. So that's where I kind of struggle. Like the long form, I feel like it's easy. I'll just record the sessions that we have. But the short form, I'm like, oh man, what should I even show people how to do?
Yeah.
So I think I get stuck in thinking about it too much. And then I just end up, not doing it.
Yeah, and there's certainly a bit of advice, right? One content creator to the other. Don't get kind of bogged down in the metrics or like chasing subscribers and things like that, because I found myself initially quite like fascinated with those numbers and was trying to drive those numbers up and was really disheartened when those numbers went down. But I did find that the short form, like 2 or 3 minutes, is the maximum length. If you do something longer, then people aren't just going to relate to it at all. And what I found, some of me just talking to camera, like on my phone, like 30 seconds or something about a particular topic. Like I think I spoke about the bulk API or something. Like those are some of my best performing videos because they went out as YouTube shorts, and the algorithm seems to favor those even more, like the LinkedIn algorithm, which seems to favor links in comments rather than links in posts. But that's a whole topic of itself. So yeah, there's definitely some lessons that I learned.
I appreciate that. I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, cool. File that for later.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's been great talking today with you, and hopefully we inspire some more baby project managers. So I love that, and hopefully they'll grow and become senior project managers as well. So thanks again for your time today.
Thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate you.